Hi there, welcome to the Happy Chicken Coop YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us today. Today we're going to be talking about chicken feather loss and what the causes are and what the cure is. Before we get into that, please be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you find our information helpful, if you learn something new, please be sure to like and subscribe as well as share the channel. That's how we continue to grow our channel so we can continue to put out great content for our subscribers. Also be sure to subscribe to the happychickencoop.com. All right, let's get into it. So let's say you're walking to your chicken coop, and as you get closer, you start to notice that there are dozens of chicken feathers spread across the ground. The first thing that comes to mind is panic, and you wonder if your chicken was attacked. Has a predator broken into the coop and attacked my chickens? Luckily, we have not lost any chickens to a predator, and chicken feather loss is actually much less serious. The most common reason for chickens losing their feathers is the annual molt. However, this is not the only reason. So let's take a look at the most common reasons as why chickens lose their feathers and our two favorite cures. So the first and most common reason why chickens lose their feathers is the annual molt. Like I said, this happens when it sheds its old feathers and replaces them with new feathers. Chickens molt during the end of the egg laying season in the fall. This is normally closely linked to daylight hours. So during the fall, when there is a drop in the number of daylight hours, you can expect your chicken to start their molt. You will notice when they start their molt as they lose feathers around their neck first. This will spread to their back and move to their breast until finally their tail feathers drop out. The typical molt lasts around 6 weeks. However, older chickens molt much slower, and that can take them up to 10 to 12 weeks. In addition to their feathers dropping out, you will also notice that their comb will lose some of its colors and it won't be a vibrant red any longer. Lastly, during a molt, you'll also notice that the number of eggs they lay will greatly reduce and most likely stop altogether. This is because chickens need a lot of protein to make eggs, but also their feathers are 80% protein. Your chicken can either molt or lay eggs, and it doesn't have enough protein to do both at the same time. So you may ask the question, can you stop their molt? The answer is well, not really, but you can help speed it up. We mentioned above when chickens molt, they require much protein in their new feathers. First thing you can do is stop feeding them layers of pellets and give them food with higher protein percentage. I like to feed my chickens game bird feed during their molt because it is 20% protein. This is double the amount of protein in its layers pellets. In addition to changing their food, you can also give them tonics. Personally, I don't give them any tonics, but a commonly used tonic is apple cider vinegar. You can mix this in their water supply to give them a boost of minerals and vitamins. One supplement we do give our chickens is ginger powder, and I have also touched on it on our blog, and we'll link to that article in the description. You can mix ginger powder up with the game feed, and it helps boost their circulation and spread vitamins and nutrients throughout the body. Another reason is broody chickens can cause chicken feather loss. If only one of your chickens has lost their feathers, it could be that she is just broody. A broody hen wants to hatch their own chicks, and she will lay on top of the eggs all day long. You'll easily notice that she's broody because she won't leave the nesting box and will rarely eat. When they are broody, they tend to pluck their own breast feathers out, so their skin is directly connected with the eggs. This is not healthy for your hen, so if it continues for a longer period, make sure you figure out how to stop that. We've actually done a video as well as posted a blog article on how to stop a broody hen that we will link in the description. Another common cause is the pecking order and chicken bullying. This as well can cause feather loss. When chickens are bullied, they pluck at each other's feathers as they jostle and compete to move up the pecking order. The pecking order is the chicken's hierarchy of status, and chickens at the top control the rest of the flock. While the pecking order is normally harmless and part of their evolution, occasionally it can turn into bullying and hens will get singled out and targeted by the flock. If a single hen is being targeted, its feathers will get plucked out and its skin may also get broken. Broody hens often get targeted because they have plucked out their own breast feathers, and the other chickens will then peck at the red flesh. This can be very dangerous because chickens are attracted to blood, and they will be attracted to peck the injured chicken even more. You can spread tree pruning sealer onto the cut to help protect the injured chicken. The sealer will dry hard nearly straight away and will give the chicken time to recover. Also, the sealer is black, so the chickens won't be anywhere near as keen to peck at it, and if they do, it will rub off on their beak so you know which hens have been bullying. You can either isolate the culprits or use a blinder for a few days. I always prefer to isolate the culprit instead. To do this, I place them in a separate small smaller pan for a couple days. Interesting, when the bully returns to the pen, they get knocked down a peg or two by the other girls because the bully is considered new. You'll notice that when you add new chickens to your existing flock, there will also be some positioning and jostling back and forth for the pecking order, and as a result, some of your chickens will lose their feathers. This should settle down in a few days if you introduce the chickens to each other properly. The final reason chickens will bully each other is because there is not enough room in their coop or run. Chickens need at least 3 square feet each inside the coop and 15 square feet outside the run. If they have less than this, they will bully each other and peck out each other's feathers. So another common cause is caused by parasites and disease. In addition to molting, the only other occasion when feather loss can be flock-wide is when your chickens have a disease or are infected with parasites. Parasites can cause your hens to lose feathers and also stop laying eggs. The most common parasites are lice and red mites. Mites will live in the chicken's coop and only appear during the night to suck blood from the chickens, whereas lice actually live on the chicken's bodies, so they're easier to spot. In both cases, you can use poultry dust from your local hardware store to remove the parasites. If you're treating mites, you can spread the poultry dust in the coop, whereas if you're treating lice, you'll need to apply the poultry dust directly onto your chickens. To prevent either of the parasites from returning, make sure you regularly clean your chicken coop and wash your hands before handling your chickens. If your chickens have lost their feathers for over 12 weeks and there's no obvious sign as to why, make sure you get to a vet or an ovarian vet to double check that they are okay. Let's talk about the disease VENT GLEET. One of the diseases that might cause your chickens to lose feathers is this type of disease. It's a fungal infection in your chicken's vent, which is where they expel eggs and waste. While the feather loss from the VENT GLEET is usually close to the vent, it can be anywhere. If your chickens develop VENT GLEET, make sure you consult a veterinarian. Prevent it by keeping the coop clean and giving your birds proper food and water. Another common cause is roosters. Roosters can be the cause of feather loss. When roosters mate with hens, the rooster holds onto the hen's back with their beak. This is known as treading. When this happens, the rooster can easily pull the feathers out of the hen's neck and back. If the rooster only mates with a certain hen, then the balding can be very obvious. Fortunately, if your rooster is placed with several hens, then this balding won't be noticeable. The next common cause is stress. Chickens can also lose feathers when they experience high stress levels in general. Stress can be caused by molting, addition of new birds, moving the coop, presence of predators, aggressive pecking order, or illness. If you think your chicken is stressed out and need to chill out a bit, consider what's upsetting them and remove the stressor. For example, if a predator is lurking nearby, you might not know it, but your chickens certainly do. Feather loss and extensive rooster crowing, especially at night, indicate an unwelcome visitor nearby. Another common cause is change in diet. A sudden change in chicken's diet can inadvertently trigger a molt. In fact, industrial-grade farmers use this common technique purposely to force their chickens to molt and improve the quality of eggs they laid. Fortunately, this is now illegal in many places. By changing their diet, if you're not careful, you can reduce the amount of protein your chickens are getting, and this can cause them to molt. We have previously talked about the importance of giving your chickens good quality layers pellets and what happened when we stopped giving our chickens pellets. We linked to that article in the description. If you want healthy, happy chickens, you need to make sure they get access to a high protein diet, and the simplest way to do this is through layers pellets. The next reason is preening. Preening is yet another reason why they might lose their feathers. The difference is that they'll only lose a few and they will do it themselves. In fact, compared to other reasons, this is hardly noticeable or barely even noticeable at all. You know that your chickens spread the oil from their preen gland by the base of their tail and use their beak to spread it over their feathers. They sometimes also remove unsightly feathers. The last reason could be just because they're bored. Just like any other animal, your chickens might get bored if you don't give them enough space or activities. Sometimes that boredom can lead to them picking out their feathers, whether from frustration or to give themselves something to do. Luckily, this is an easy fix. You just need to give your chickens a bit more space and some distractions. Let's talk about if your chicken's feathers don't come back right away. So let's say you solve the problem, whatever the issue could be based off what we just went through, but the feathers aren't growing back. What happened? Sometimes the feather breaks as it emerges. it can get stuck in the skin, making the chicken's body think that there is a feather there. If that happens, you'll have to wait until the chicken molts again and sheds the feather. Then a replacement should grow in its place. Even if you get the chicken's pecking order under control, they might still pick some of the new feathers growing into place. Unfortunately, pin feathers are really tempting, especially when surrounded by the irritated skin and redness of their skin. So how can you encourage the chicken's feathers to come back more quickly? There's a couple ways you can do this. These include only giving snacks and treats in moderation, letting your chickens enjoy a dust bath, and then also you can confirm that your chicken's getting the proper diet, adding sea kelp or kelp meal to their diet, making sure to keep the area clean, using blue coat to dye the area slightly blue and reduce the urge to peck. Also, removing the chicken's missing feathers from the flock temporarily. You can also use aprons to cover the area and maintain the right proportion of roosters to hens to prevent overmating. Key thing here is to remember that it is normal when chickens lose their feathers. Most of the time it's completely harmless. It's just you need to address the issue and what could be causing it. Well, that's going to do it for us here at the Happy Chicken Coop. Thanks for joining and listening. If you found the content informational, if you learned something new, if we changed your perspective, please be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as share the YouTube channel. With that, I hope you have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.